This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Okay, well, I'm pressing record.
Well, take it away.
This is what you can look forward to on this Life Day Thanksgiving episode 192 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Currently, Sarah's got a turkey on her head.
Yes.
But then again, so do I.
Everyone voted for it.
If people took the holiday special as seriously back then, we'd be way ahead in technology.
Especially the bar scene. The bar scene was a monster because of all those people in costumes.
No pun intended.
Did you ever bring up the holiday special with Bea Arthur when you worked on Golden Girls? I think we need a new holiday special.
I'm there. And you know what? We'll shoot it on our iPhones.
Wow, that's like an Instagram account waiting to happen.
Hi, this is Larry Heider, and I shot the Star Wars holiday special. And I am skywalking through Neverland.
Are you ready?
Off to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets love. It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Are you ready to party like a Wookiee on Life Day? Then we are thankful that you are joining us on Skywalking Through Neverland. We are your podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars and Disney fandom. I am Richard Wolosky, but everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, who's about to answer this trivia question I had asked her about an hour ago, and I told her I'm gonna put you on the spot when we start to record.
Okay.
We were listening to Christmas music, and there was a Burl Ives song that came on. And I said, okay, Sarah, quick, how does Burl Ives tie into the Star Wars universe? You had an hour to get the answer.
So I'm thinking it has to do with the Star Wars Holiday Special. And I'm going to say, since Burl Ives is a musician, that he wrote some music for someone who was in the holiday special.
All right, Skywalkers, the face huggers, and the sky tubers, do you guys want to help her out? Do you know the answer? All right, you know what? We'll give you another 10 minutes, okay?
Okay.
And then if you don't get the answer, that Wonder Woman jacket you just opened up on our pre-show, got to go back to her universe. That's the deal. That's the deal, okay? Now, go on with your big introduction as you ponder that answer. How does Burl Ives fit into the Star Wars universe?
I feel like I've heard something like this before.
Oh, I've mentioned it many times.
Oh.
You got to start listening to me.
I do listen to you.
I know.
Aw. All right. Okay, so... while you guys are figuring that out, I want to say Happy Life Day to our Star Wars and Disney family. And Darth Tuba says Burl Ives narrated the first Ewok movie.
Ding, 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 ding.
Whoa, really?
Our story begins in a time long, long ago, deep in an enchanted forest on the distant moon of Endor.
So you're going to thank Darth Tuba right now, because it's because of him that you can keep your Wonder Woman jacket.
Yay, thank you, Darth Tuba. Thank you, pretty jacket, pretty.
So if anyone ever asks you, hey, how does Burl Ives fit into the Star Wars universe? You can now tell them that he narrated the Ewok Adventure.
Nice.
Yeah, November 25th, 1984.
All right. We want to start this extra special show with a warm and fuzzy Wookiee hug with a red Snuggie to our family of Skywalkers. So thank you for listening to the show every week. And thanks to those of you on YouTube and on Facebook who are watching us live right now. You got to see the pre-show.
Yeah, the Skytubers and the Facehuggers.
Yes, you got to see the pre-show where I got to unbox my Wonder Woman jacket from her universe, and you get to see our crazy hats. So if you're just listening to this podcast right now, you don't get to see our Thanksgiving hats. I'm sorry.
Currently, Sarah's got a turkey on her head.
Yes.
But then again, so do I.
Everyone voted for it. Well, you can tweet at us while you listen. We are at Skywalking Pod, and we love it when you share our joy in this adventure through fandom.
Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on November 22nd, 2017. So, Sarah, while I see who's calling me, you go ahead and tell everyone what time it is.
Okay. Let me get right on that.
Hold on. This is our friend Denise. Hey, Denise, we're recording right now. Do you want to say hello to the Skywalkers?
I do. Hi, Skywalkers. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all being... Oh, everyone's so excited because it's like, oh my gosh, so much is happening.
There is so much happening, including this recording. So, can I call you back later on? Because we're on live. Do you want to say hello to the face? Say hello to the Facehuggers.
To the Facehuggers?
Yes.
Or Facewalkers.
Oh, that works too.
People decided on Facehuggers.
Yes.
So say hello to the Facehuggers and the Skytubers.
Okay, hi everybody.
That's a cop out.
I have a cold.
Aww.
This is the risk you run when you call us when we're recording. All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
All right.
All right. Well, Minnie's ready to go.
That was an impromptu moment. All right, Minnie, what time is it?
It's 2:58. Good afternoon.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 3?
It is
when
almost
did that
3.
happen? Uh-oh. All right.
It happened about 3 hours ago.
Oh boy.
All right, now, coming up on this very special episode, well, as you all know, we take celebrating the Star Wars holiday special very seriously over here, and this is the 39th anniversary. So, we reached out to Larry Heider, who was a camera operator during the whole production. So, this guy's got stories.
Mm-hmm. And he took notes. He has like a diary.
Yes. So, I can't wait to get to that.
And pictures. Well, also on this episode, we have Shoutouts, Skywalker of the Week, and now here are
Things We Want to Share.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
Star Tours 1401, you are cleared for departure.
1401, that's us.
All right, Skywalkers, on Friday, November 17th, the planet Crait, as seen in The Last Jedi, was added to Star Tours at Hollywood Studios and at Disneyland. Now, we don't want to spoil the experience for you, so you might want to jump ahead a little bit if you want to go in totally fresh.
Yeah, luckily.
Yeah, although the Disney Parks blog may have already spoiled it for you.
Luckily, we didn't read those blogs before going in, because if it had ruined the big surprise at the end, I would have been upset.
I'm so glad we went that morning.
Yes.
Like, we went right away. So
yeah, it's a 75% new adventure.
Yes,
because they do add in Jakku, which we saw when The Force Awakens opened a couple of years ago.
Right. So would you consider that new then?
No, it was new back then.
Right.
But now the adventures around Jakku are all new. But we don't go to the planets we've been to before on Star Tours, like Kashyyyk, Hoth,
the
Naboo, Coruscant.
Right.
So as far as I know, they're just going to be doing this all new adventure.
Yeah, for the next couple months at least. I think.
Yeah, that hasn't really been confirmed.
It's been confirmed by an unconfirmed source.
Yes.
How does that sound? And actually, that source, the Walt Disney World Today, was actually incorrect about some things when they posted an article before November 17th.
Yeah.
So...
So we did reach out to people, to the powers that be, to get some confirmations. They haven't gotten back to us just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So for right now, they're going to be sticking with this adventure as you go to Crait.
Okay.
And Crait is not the only thing that's new. They've also updated the intro.
Yes.
So when you're in the Star Speeder...
And the holograms.
Oh, hold on. We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, so we're starting from the beginning now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
So when you're on the Star Speeder 1000 and C-3PO is right in front of you in this shield goes down, so now you're looking at 3PO.
And autopilot's engaged.
And you're looking out at the Star Tours terminal. You see the Millennium Falcon out there. You see stormtroopers rushing to the Star Speeder looking for the Rebel spy. Guess who was not the Rebel spy? But now, all the stormtroopers are now First Order stormtroopers.
Yes.
Where before, up until now, they were the classic stormtroopers. And you see BB-8 rolling around too.
Apparently, Rey and Kylo Ren are also in that opening sequence, though I did not spot them. This is according to Trisha Barr, who went to a media event at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And saw it.
Okay, so this is the part where the Star Speeder is taking off from the terminal and Darth Vader stops the Star Speeder?
Yes.
Looking for that Rebel spy? Oh, did I mention that I was not the Rebel spy again? Twice?
I think you did mention that.
Okay.
And Martin Keeler was actually just asking, quick question if I may. Has Richard ever been the Rebel spy? Asking for a friend.
Tell your friend that's a big, emphatic no.
And also on the 17th or close to it, Chica Fent rode the ride and
yeah. Chica
was the
Fent's
Rebel
mom,
spy.
Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah, she was chosen.
Yeah.
She was chosen. Because the Star Tours operator said, hey, that's not Richard. Let's pick her. All right, so what else did we see that was new? Now that we told everyone to jump ahead.
Okay.
So now let's get into some of the minutia of
Yes.
Star Tours, the updated version with Crait.
All right, so what do we see when the Star Speeder takes off?
We take off and we see another update. Whereas before you would see the Star Destroyers up in space, but now you're seeing the New Order Dreadnoughts up in space.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sad that we're losing some classic stuff.
Yeah.
And we're losing so much classic stuff now. Let us keep Star Tours, would ya?
I know. Well, I think before there were 2 different versions of that opening. Now I guess there's going to be 3 once it goes into random mode.
Martin Keeler just said he's going to Disneyland, or was that Disney World? But he's going to be wearing the shirt that says, I am not Richard.
And he'll get the Rebel spy.
Yeah, so they're going to say, oh, well, if you're not Richard, we'll go ahead and pick you.
Again. All right.
But now, as you're going through space and you would have the Rebel spy being picked out. Did I mention that? Not me? Okay, let's move on.
Wasn't
and you would have Admiral Akbar come out, or Leia, or BB-8. Now Poe Dameron comes out.
Yes.
Look, telling 3PO that, hey, get this Rebel spy safely to the Resistance base.
So this is the hologram you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, so exciting because you might get BB-8, you might get Poe Dameron, which we were the ones we saw, but apparently there's one more that we did not see.
You're going to see Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
So has anyone ridden Star Tours recently, since last Friday, that had maybe gotten Akbar
or
or
someone
Leia?
else?
I'm guessing now that
Probably not.
it's all geared toward this timeline.
Right.
We're not going to see Leia. We're not going to see Akbar.
Right. I'd love to see Rey. I want to see Rey. But I guess she's not technically in... Well, Maz isn't technically in the Resistance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So more reasons to go back to Disneyland.
I know.
Okay.
I know. All right. So then we head to Crait. And that's the new planet. So exciting. So first you go through these red crystal shards, right? You go through the planet like they show in the trailers.
We get the stalactites and the stalagmites made out of crystal.
Uh-huh.
Very exciting. And we come upon the AT-M6 walkers.
No, before that.
See, now I'm jumping ahead.
Now you're excited. Okay.
I'm too excited.
We go to this cannon and we see
yeah.
the little crystal foxes. They're running all around. And do you know what?
What?
They're called Vulptex or Vulptices in plural.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yes. So one of them is called a Vulptex.
Okay.
Which is kind of hard to say. I'm kind of like, why'd they pick this? I like Crystal Fox better. Or Vulptices. So we see a bunch of Vulptices running around.
That sounds so Star Trek.
I guess so. I guess. So like Entertainment Weekly actually put out an article this week that suggests that the Vulptex crystal coat will provide a guiding light to the movie's heroes.
Ooh.
So maybe they're connected to the Force somehow, or to those crystals. I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm almost saying this as like a descendant of the Lothwolf.
Yeah. I'm getting those confused, actually. When I saw a picture of a tweet come up that was promoting a pin for Lothwolf, I immediately thought Crystal Fox.
Because it was white.
Yes.
That one. Okay.
It was white.
Yeah, I saw that same one too.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we see the Voldemorts. No, I'm sorry. Voltexes.
Voltuses.
We see those. And we smash through the other side of the cave with all the crystals. And we come up upon the ATM6 walkers, but there are the classic walkers right next to them. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and the classic walkers are like, you ever see that footage from safaris where you see the mama elephant and the little tiny baby elephant?
Oh.
It kind of looks like that because the classic walkers that we all know from Empire and Jedi and Rogue One with the ACTs, they're so small.
Okay.
They're like so miniature. Like the ATM6 could pick it up in one hand and go, oh, it's so cute.
You know what? We need to ride this again. But also in that scene, if you noticed, right at the beginning when you're flying toward these M6s, there's some kind of machine that they're all protecting in the middle.
Right.
But that's when that red dust sprays up and it obscures that from view. So I think that might be the weapon that the First Order are using. I know.
Yeah, I saw that big rectangular transport thing, but I wasn't really sure what it was because I was looking at the classic walkers.
Okay, so you were looking at that. I was looking at this weapon.
Yeah.
That it looked like it had like some kind of spinny thing in the middle that it was gonna like spray out something. I don't know.
Now, going back to the walkers, because I'm so excited about this, I went back to the trailers and I did not see any of the classic walkers in those shots. So I'm wondering maybe if they just added the classic walkers into Star Tours.
Just to get familiarity? I don't know.
Yeah, just to, hey, you know what? Why do the ATM6s when we can do the ATM6s and the retro walkers? Let's get Rich to shut up about this whole Rebel Spy thing and throw him a bone. So that'd be very interesting if in the movie we do see the classic walkers.
Yeah. Also, Poe gets to talk to you. So that's why I didn't notice the walkers, because I was looking at Poe in the little screen on the right side.
Yeah, we do see Finn, too.
No, well, Finn is in Jakku.
Yeah, all right. So the first planet we get to is Jakku.
Right.
So for those of you who had ridden Star Tours in the past, when we went to Jakku, it's that same footage, and we do see Finn, and we have Poe when we get to Crait.
Yes. And also a bad guy. We see Hux. Yay. Hux tells them to eliminate us, right? Eliminate or something. It was awesome. Awesome term. And then the Star Speeder finally exits by tilting up and leaving the planet. But as you tilt up, you see First Order Dreadknots. Oh my goodness. They look so cool. And there's a bunch of them.
I'm going to call them the classic Marvel Dreadknots. For those of you who heard our last classic Marvel Star Wars episode, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of connections.
Okay, so then
comes
we get a surprise.
The big surprise, and oh my goodness, I think we screamed louder than anyone in the whole park. People on the Matterhorn, people on Space Mountain didn't hold a candle to the volume that we had gotten.
Because we went Lightspeed to
Batuu! Wait a minute. What's Batuu, you're asking?
Yes, it's Star Wars land. It's the galaxy's edge. We go to Batuu. And then and C-3PO says, "Welcome to this place. You'll be safe, Batuu," or something like that. He says, "Welcome to Batuu." And it's hard to hear because the first time you're there, you're looking all around going, "Oh, it's Star Wars land." And you're looking, there's like a cantina. There's droids wandering around.
Yeah, honestly, I still have not heard him say Batuu. We've ridden it a couple times, 2 or 3 times now, and there is so much going on. There's so much sound effects from the ride, and I still have not heard him say Batuu.
Okay, yeah.
But when we landed and we're going into the galaxy's edge, into the marketplace, I'm thinking, is this Theed? Are they mixing? Are they mixing timelines now?
No, I thought originally we had flown to Naboo, and I was like, "Oh, it's Naboo." And then Richard, you were the one to point out, "Oh, it's Star Wars land." Like you're like, "It's Star Wars land." And I was like, "Oh, you're right!" Ah! And then we started yelling.
Yeah, right in the middle of the frame, there's an Ithorian, the Hammerhead,
yes,
talking to an IG bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Two classic characters right in mid-frame conversing.
I know. It goes by too fast. It's like you want to stop and take it all in. Oh.
Yeah, now, the one surprise that we did not get...
What?
There were no porgs.
No.
You would have thought they'd be trying really hard now to tie porgs into everything.
Because you know where you go right after you exit Star Tours?
The gift shop.
Exactly.
To pick up a...
porg.
Exactly.
A stuffed porg.
Exactly. You would have thought that would have been a self-serving promotional tool.
Mm-hmm.
But just to have the Star Speeder maybe go by Octu and we come face to face with a couple of porgs flying past the windscreen, it's a missed opportunity.
But you know what? I think porgs come from Octo, right? Octo?
Yeah. Octu, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If maybe
Crait.
we just zipped by Octu, and of course, we're not going to see Luke and Rey, but if we did see a couple of porgs passing by the window, kind of like when you're driving down the street and a pigeon can't move out of your way fast enough. They're right in front of your windshield, and they're trying to escape.
Yeah. Or like those death-defying squirrels who will stand stick straight as you're zooming up, and then all of a sudden veer off in a different direction.
And as you're passing by them, they're saying, "If you're recording, we're gonna make you throw that recorder away." Mm-hmm. Not so secret now, are you, squirrel?
And Alan Zaug says, "Unless a porg were to hitch a ride." I mean, that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised there were no porgs.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed, but I am just so surprised.
And then Carlos Esteban Munoz Zuniga says, it's like all those made-up scenarios we made up playing with our vintage Star Wars action figures. IG-88 and Hammerhead were best buds.
They were besties.
We love that, Carlos.
I can't wait to see more of that.
I know.
We've already seen the casts of Ithorians when we saw the Stories of the Galaxy Pavilion at D23 Expo. We saw an Ithorian there on display. So I'm going to bet we're going to see a lot of Ithorians.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of them. So, Sarah, when we got off of the Star Speeder, went through the gift shop, didn't buy a porg because we didn't find it pulling at us.
Well, we had already bought one.
But still,
that's beside the point.
But still, had we seen porgs on Star Tours, maybe we would have picked up. A few more.
Yeah, the one that talks or something like that. Yeah.
So we went right over there to Galaxy's Edge, and we waited in line.
Yep, we took our picture.
We ask all the Skywalkers, if you're going to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, to go over there to the gate and take a picture of yourself standing in the Star Wars land line.
And then you tag us at Skywalking Pod on Twitter or Instagram, and, we had the hashtag Star Wars Landline. But as we were putting this out on social media, our picture, we realized, wait a minute, we have a new name here. Batu, or Galaxy's Edge, or what should we call this hashtag now? So, what should we call the Star Wars Landline hashtag?
So we put this out on Facebook, and got a couple of really fun answers.
Yes, so Georgia Peach Lee says, hashtag edging closer with lining up.
I think that one's already taken.
Yes. Let's see, what about Brian Sims? What did
Brian
he say?
Sims says, Skywalking Batu Q. Hashtag Skywalking Batu Q.
Very cute.
All right, that's a good one.
Oh, Logan Lanou, he uses something that rhymes, and it rhymes with his name too. Logan Lanou says, Q to Batu.
Or, where are you, Batu Q? If this was a Scooby-Doo line, we'd be all over that one.
Now, Reynold Gobiel just posted, hashtag to Batu. That's nice. T-O Batu. I like that. But, okay, so Joey Pittman has my favorite one. And you know what it is? It's hashtag sitting on our Batu.
Classic. They're all good. We need to throw Reynolds in there too. I mean, we need to make a list of these.
Okay.
What did he say? Hashtag Tupatu.
Yeah. We'll put that there.
Okay, I like it, but it doesn't say that we're waiting in line though.
No.
So we need to find some way to fit the whole line theme in there, Reynold.
Yes.
There's your homework. I know you're a new dad and all, but you gotta set your priorities right now.
Now, and I don't know about you, but when I try to write Batu, I always end up typing B-A-T-T-U-U because it's my hand stutters.
Well, it's like Tatooine. Is there T-A-T-T-T-A-T?
I've never had a problem with Tatooine, but Batu, I don't know about you.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Oh, the puns aplenty.
All right, well, let's move on while we're #sitting on our batu.
Yeah, to the Skywalker Dad of the Week. What do you mean?
What?
A Skywalker Dad of the Week?
What?
What is this now? Well, you know what? That honor, this one-time honor, is going to go to Mr. Eric Warren.
Whoa!
He celebrated the anniversary of the Star Wars Holiday Special by introducing his 2 kids, Adrian and Sophia, to this holiday classic.
Aww.
Now, Eric said in a Facebook post that he and the kids woke up early that day, and by early we mean 6:30 a.m. That's dedication.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, and they were off and running and watching the holiday special. Now, his kids, who are 9 and 5 years old, after they saw it, Eric recorded their thoughts and sent it in to us.
Nice.
All
Do we
right.
get to hear that?
Right now.
Hey, Richard and Sarah. This is Eric Warren with my 2 kids, Adrian and Sophia. And I introduced them this weekend to the Star Wars Holiday Special. Can you guys say hello?
Hello. Hey.
So they got to watch
Star Wars Special!
Yeah, the Star Wars Special. Sophie, was there anything that you remembered about it?
Yeah, when I saw Chewbacca.
When you saw Chewbacca?
Yeah.
What was Chewbacca doing?
He was helping Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, he was helping Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon.
Uh-huh.
Well, Adrian, do you remember what the special was about?
It was about Life Day, and so Chewbacca can celebrate Life Day.
With his family, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what his family's names were?
Nope.
Mala, Itchy, and Lumpy.
And Chewbacca.
And Chewbacca, that's right. Okay, so were there any other characters that you saw in the show that stood out to you? Han Solo.
Luke,
okay.
And R2.
Oh, Luke and R2 were on there.
Princess Leia.
And Princess Leia.
C-3PO.
Yep, C-3PO.
Ice Baby A was in that.
And a few guest stars from different shows.
A few stars from other shows. How about any other Star Wars characters?
Vader?
Was Darth Vader in it?
No. Oh, and that cartoon had Boba Fett.
It had Boba Fett in it. Do you want to know something? That was the very first time we got to see Boba Fett in anything Star Wars.
Whoa.
He was in a parade once before that, and then he got to be in that cartoon.
Huh.
So anything else about the show that you guys liked?
My favorite part?
About, like, when they celebrated Life Day.
When they celebrated Life Day?
The Life Day was the best.
The Life Day was the best. Why was the Life Day part the best?
Because get presents.
Because of the presents?
Uh-huh.
They had presents?
Yeah.
What kind of presents did they have? What shape were they?
It was square.
Square? No, Sophie's hands are shaped like a ball.
Rectangular.
The ball kind of like a Christmas ornament, huh?
Uh-huh.
And did anybody sing?
Yes.
Who?
Leia. That other girl that Itchy got for Life Day, like his present that he got.
Okay.
Wee.
And
the present that I really liked was Chewbacca's son.
Oh. Well, guys,
The concert thing.
The concert thing with the characters from the Cantina.
What?
Yeah.
And it was the best part.
All right. Well, would you guys recommend that anybody else see this special?
No.
No?
I think so.
You think so? Why not, Sophie?
Because maybe they didn't watch it.
Well, then you'd want to tell somebody to watch it, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And how about you, Adrian? Would you tell anybody else to watch it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because if anyone likes Star Wars, just watch it if you want to.
Okay. What if...
My favorite part was when Chewbacca was at his home.
When he came home and when the guard got knocked off of the side? The stormtrooper?
That was the funny part.
Oh, the funny part. Okay. All right. So do you think Do you think George Lucas should make another holiday special?
Yeah, like
Valentine's
Day.
Oh, he should make a Valentine's Day episode?
Yeah.
Well, who would be in that?
Chewbacca and his family.
Oh, so Chewbacca and his family should do
Darth Vader.
And Darth Vader should show up in the Valentine's special.
Yeah, and Darth Vader could be nice.
Oh, he could be nice. All right.
Or not.
Or not. All right. Well, thank you, Adrian and Sophia.
Welcome.
Because my birthday is before Valentine's Day.
Oh, so that's why. Okay. All right. Say thank you, Richard and Sarah.
Thank you, Richard and Sarah.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, that was fun to hear.
Yeah, so thank you, Eric, Sophia, and Adrian. And I'm so happy to see this new generation appreciating the classics.
Yeah.
And that's why, Eric, you deserve the Skywalker Dad of the Week. He also said that he's going to get his kids into the Ewok Adventure and Battle for Endor.
Wow.
That's a dad.
I need to see those Ewok Adventure movies again.
Oh,
it's
Tweet Party.
It's been since I was like 13 or something since I last saw them. And found them at my local Blockbuster.
What's a Blockbuster?
I know, right?
All right, you know what? Done and done, sweetie.
Okay.
Don't need to bend my arm for that one.
Happy Life Day, everyone. Yes, Arthur. It is indeed true that at times like this, Arthur and I wish that we were more than just mechanical beings. And were really alive, so that we could share your feelings with you.
All right, now, before we talk with our big guest, Larry Heider, who was the camera operator for the Star Wars Holiday Special, let's get into our red snuggies and sing along with Eliza Peralta and her rendition of the holiday classic Life Day song as arranged by Rob Dehlinger.
Celebrate a day of peace. A day of harmony, a day of joy we all can share together joyously, a day that takes us through the darkness, a day that leads us to my a day that makes us celebrate
That's it, I'm turning back. I know your family's waiting. I know it's an important day. All right, we'll give it a try. I'll set your coordinates. I won't jump far. I'll get you back there in time, pal. Trust me. That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it. Stand by. Here's where we say goodbye to our unpleasant friends.
Every year on Skywalking Through Neverland, we have always celebrated the Star Wars Holiday Special in a big way. We have done everything from scene analysis, Leia's Life Day song interpretations, and last year we spoke with director Steve Bender.
This year, we celebrate a day of peace, a day of harmony, with holiday special camera operator Larry Heider.
Hey, Larry!
Hey!
Hey, thanks so much for coming on Skywalking Through Neverland, and boy, we are very excited to hear some of your stories about the Star Wars Holiday Special and what people don't really know. Now, I gotta ask you this right off the bat, because I'm sure everyone wants to know, on the set of the special, was there a day of peace and a day of harmony? What was the atmosphere going on during the making?
Okay, well, I can only tell you, and everything I say has to be taken with the aspect that it was 40 years ago. So my memory is a little faded, but I'm sure that this is true, that when we got on the set, we all got a call to come and do a show, but that's what we do for a living. And I'm a freelance cameraman. I don't work for, an everyday client. So I'm always over the map, and everybody else on that stage were also freelance people. So we just assembled. The first day that we got together was actually just a meeting day where everybody and all the staff, lighting, sound, everybody involved technically met with the producers and the director to just talk it through and what we were going to be doing, which is unusual for a TV show because they don't normally get that deep into letting everybody have information. On most shows, you get there and you start shooting, but this was a little more formal, which was good to experience. It was nice. So it was everybody knew what Star Wars was. We also knew that we were working in a TV show, not a feature. So, the question was, what was this shape going to be?
So everyone was really excited about working on the Star Wars follow-up. How about yourself? Were you a Star Wars fan at the time?
Well, I have to be honest, I did see the movie at some point, but at that time in my life, I was working a lot. I mean, an awful lot. And I was traveling, I was flying to Hawaii, and I was flying to London, and I was working all over the country in Vegas and Florida. So I wasn't a big movie guy at the time in general.
So you weren't obsessive like Richard,
Yeah, I'm sure we had different viewpoints on that. Yeah, it was we were curious. People who called me Smith Aiming Productions were my favorite client. They did all the really top end variety programming on television at the time, and there was a lot of it back then. So we knew it was going to be a class act, and we were all just looking forward to seeing what was going to unfold.
Did anyone think that, hey, maybe we're shooting The Empire Strikes Back and it's all very top secret and they're not telling us much, and hey, you never know. They could be shooting this on video.
I'm more pragmatic, but some of the guys might have thought that, yeah.
Now, when was the last time you had seen the holiday special? It aired 39 years ago, but when did you last see it?
2 days ago. I watched it online, YouTube, just a refresher course. First time I've seen it all the way through without commercials. First time I saw it all the way through from beginning to end without stopping. And I got to say that it holds up a lot better than I thought it did. It gets a lot of bad vibe and rap on the internet. But looking at it again, I think that it's not that horrible thing that everybody said it was. It was a good effort, for the time. It was kitschy and all that. I mean, it was definitely a kid's show, but I liked it a lot. I was much more impressed with it.
Oh, nice. You know what? Having just watched it now,
But first, hold on. I got to say this, Larry. Thank you very much. Thank you for saying that, because we tell everyone every year, you've got to watch it again. Watch it with a fresh perspective. Don't go in there with an attitude of everyone hates it, I'm going to hate it, and why even bother? Go in there with a fresh look on it, and you'll have a great time, give or take.
Well, yeah, so what I wanted to know, Larry, is like, what was your favorite part now, having watched it?
Favorite part? Watching the Wookiee household, get set up and bringing all the furniture in and actually creating the set was really interesting to see, because none of us had any idea what to expect, because I don't think there was a household shot in the movie, right? I mean,
no.
Didn't have, so we knew that there was a picture of this big thing that was on a tree, and it was a big disc of housing, kind of forward thinking, like maybe what they'll do hundreds of years from now. But then we got on the set, and there was a lot of furniture with shag carpeting, which was kind of, but it looked like a very comfortable place, and they had the spiral staircase going up to somewhere, and that was interesting to me to say, oh wow, this is not a spaceship at all. This is grounded, so it's going to be about family and all that, kind of like a Como show or something.
Yeah. So when you just saw it a couple of days ago, what kind of unique perspective did you have on the show?
Visually, because I had seen most of everything that, in terms of what we shot on the stage already, that wasn't a surprise. But I was kind of surprised at actually the mounting tension that was built up through the movie on whether they were going to get arrested, and the Imperial stormtroopers were going to come in and blow them all away or not. And it was very cinematic in that sense. And, I think I mentioned to you yesterday, Richard, about the idea of the World War II aspect of being the Nazis coming in to take Anne Frank, or in Inglourious Bastards movie of Quentin Tarantino's, where the guy comes in and the people are hiding under the floor, and so I thought there was some good tension throughout the film, or the show rather, and that I didn't get from shooting it because it was so disjointed. We didn't shoot it, beginning to end. We shot it in pieces. So it was all just based upon what talent was available, what the set was on the stage that day. So it wasn't clear to me how this was all going to come together, although I think I'm not the only one who suffered from that. But now that I kind of get it, and okay, there was after all the 10 minutes of no words at all and all the Wookiee talk, it did start to actually become something that you wanted to see what happens next, which is always good in storytelling.
Yeah, when you had brought up the analogy with World War II, my mind went right to Inglourious Bastards and that first opening 20-minute scene with Christoph Waltz interrogating this family, and I never really thought about it until you brought it up. And yeah, you're absolutely right. In the holiday special, we have the stormtroopers going from treehouse to treehouse looking for these rebels.
Right, exactly. Which is another point we could. I probably shouldn't get into modern politics, but there is a refugee issue with that whole storytelling too. And also going back to the Inglourious Bastards thing, I was thinking about this driving my car today. I'm thinking, well, wouldn't it be funny if Quentin Tarantino actually, because this happened, this aired in '78, which is, but he was a lot younger, and maybe he saw this because he is kind of a nerdy kind of guy who would watch this kind of thing, I think, and then maybe he took that idea and put it into Inglourious Bastards. How about that? Star Wars provides the storyline for Inglourious Bastards.
It would not surprise me in the least bit. And I always wondered why at the end of Inglourious Bastards there is a credit for the Star Wars Holiday Special.
No, there is.
I could be making that part up. I don't know.
I know that film too well. No, that's not.
When did you actually shoot this, and what was that first day of production like?
Okay, we shot this in August of 1978. There were actually two periods, and I didn't even realize this until I was looking back in my old appointment book. But there was a gap. The first production on set stuff started on August 21st, and it went through August 31st. We were scheduled to shoot. We hadn't had those dates in our book at the time for anything else, but because there was a stop down on the show, which probably everybody knows, where we switched directors and went a different direction. So a month later, on September 20th through the 28th, we did the stuff that Steve Bender shot, which was the stuff at the end, with the floating candles, that whole scene of, was it Live Day or Life Day?
The Life Day celebration.
Life Day celebration, right. So that part Steve did. And he also did some scenes when we had Carrie Fisher on the set and Mark Hamill on the set. So I didn't even know that. I mean, because I work a lot and everything gets kind of mixed up. But so there were two different 10-day periods almost where we were putting it all together. And I think we probably were on camera, I guess, looking at it about 12 days of shooting. For a TV show, that is extraordinary.
Wow.
For a musical show like that, I don't think we've ever done that with anything else. And I've done live dramatic television, live variety show, but they're always like 3, maybe 4 days, so this was on a big scale. They definitely spent a lot of money, and that was part of their problem too, was that they were over budget. But
so when the original director David Akumba left, and right before Steve Bender, who replaced David Akumba, stepped in, there was about a 3-week period of time before he started shooting again?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised about that. Mm-hmm. And Fox didn't say, oh, no, Steve, you're going to start today. You can take David Akumba's parking spot. He'll be backing up in a few minutes. You zoom right in there, and you get right to stage 46A.
Well, actually, that's not how it works, though. I mean, Steve coming in and David leaving wasn't the biggest problem, because there was a stop down, I think, also because there was a lot of uncertainty about how the story was being done and how the whole thing was progressing, and the limitations of working with all these people in costumes, was a real problem, because they would get hyperventilated, or they would get so thirsty or tired that they'd have to come out of all that, all the head stuff, especially the major characters. So there was a lot of slapdown time that they hadn't anticipated, which is one of the reasons we started going on very long days, which was slowing everything down. And then there became talent availability problems when they knew that they wanted to add some days. Some people couldn't do that because they were going other places. So I think it was an unanticipated move, but at the same time, they had this thing that they were told to make, and so they had to do whatever it took. So I imagined that they had to, clear out the stage, and I don't know if something else came in the meantime at Burbank Studios, but my impression is that the gap, was kind of like also not just to switch the directors, but also maybe change the writing, change the storyline, figure out how to do things more efficiently, how to get more on time with the people in all those heavy costumes and things, and make it work a little more smoothly, because everything was kind of impacted by that.
Wow. Now, at what point did the cast and crew realize this is not the same Star Wars that's in the theaters as we speak?
Well, I think, when we saw the shag carpeting, that came back to me. I mean, there was no Star Wars thing like that, but we were all pros. We all, every one of us from all the different departments, we all were used to doing, productions. It's like if you worked in theater and something comes in and comes out again. We weren't expecting to make a movie. We knew that you couldn't possibly do the special effects that were done in Star Wars on television. The technology wasn't there to do that. And so, I think most of us are just looking forward to doing what we do, and trying to do the best we can and try to make everybody happy.
I know in the beginning, Mark Hamill kept telling George, what are we doing here? Why is Princess Leia singing? And why are all these funky things happening with chess pieces and video games and looking at Diahann Carroll in a way that you shouldn't be looking at Diahann Carroll before 10 p.m.? What is going on over here?
Well, I'll tell you, that's that good example of the whole the little projection screen that was it Itchy was looking at.
Oh boy,
we didn't know what that was, and that thing didn't work. So we shot all that with the actor not knowing what he was looking at, because the Diahann Carroll thing was shot after that.
Wow.
So that was some great acting on a Wookiee's part, I thought, to kind of go to that kind of strange personal place like you went to with that. There wasn't a lot of questioning about what we were doing. I mean, that was television. That's how you make things happen. It's all movie making too. It's like you don't do things in real time. So we didn't know how all the pieces would come together. So there was no creepiness. If I'd have known maybe I might have, made some jokes about it, because I tend to do that at that point in my life. But we were just, okay, this is interesting. Let's get this on tape, and let's move on and get something else done. I mean, I don't want to take the excitement out of it, but you got to realize after all these days of shooting that it wasn't, every day wasn't like, wow, what's going to happen next? It's more, wow, what can we do now?
Okay.
When you just watched the special a couple of days ago, can you pick out the shots that you were responsible for?
Well, yeah, definitely can. They use a crane on the show for most of the bigger wide shots, and the camera operator, and his name was Wayne Orr, really excellent crane operator, one of the best I've ever seen. And so his responsibility was get to the wider shots with head to toes and the characters. And there was a Steadicam, a very early version of the Steadicam, which didn't get used very much at all, which was a frustrating thing for Ron Sheldon, who was the operator of that, because he really wanted to make a movie. But my responsibility was mostly the shots that were the close-up shots, where you see tight shots, or like eyes, people looking at things, tight faces. That's mostly what I would do in a thing like that.
So were you responsible for the shot where Lumpy has his bantha
that was
pulled
torn
in
apart
half?
by the Imperial Guard?
Yes.
Oh, that scene breaks my heart every time I watch it.
He was, that was a girl,
Yeah, Patty Maloney. We've been trying to get her on the show for years.
Yeah, she is a sweetheart. She was a pleasure to work with, but she was having a problem. We probably did a lot of takes of that particular scene, because it was such a primary character thing. But that was a touching moment, and I did a lot of the tight shots of Diahann Carroll, and in the bar scenes, I did a lot of the faces of all the different aliens that were in the bar and all that. So that's mostly my responsibility on a show like this.
Oh, you got like the scoring shots.
Mm-hmm.
Those are awesome.
They call them the money shot sometimes, in some productions they call it that.
The money shot. That's funny. Now, speaking of Diahann Carroll, and this show had a lot of guest stars. How were they to work with, and did they understand what was going on? Because I had heard a rumor that Bea Arthur had no idea what she was doing. She had no idea this was part of a Star Wars film.
Bea was a great actress. I must say that. And she was a theater person as well. And she knew how to, create a scene. And she made some scenes off camera that she was a little difficult, but it wasn't like outrageous. But all these people getting together, we had a time problem. We had to get them to get on the set, do the thing, and move on to the next thing, which is not what actors are used to doing, especially in films. And being a television person, a film person on a television show wasn't the best thing in the world for most of these people at the time. There was still a lot of people who looked down on television. It's changed quite a bit, especially in the last few years in television. But at that time, this was like slumming a little bit, not for our, but for Bea, definitely. So I thought that she actually seeing it again, she did a great part, especially in the bar scene where she sang a song even.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.
And she did put it all together really well. I mean, maybe she was a little difficult, but that's not uncommon. And she was a real trooper, pardon the pun. But I thought a good job. Yeah.
Was she difficult just for the sake of being difficult? Because I know how sometimes TV actors can get all diva. Or was it she was just really trying to understand what was going on, and maybe no one was explaining it to her?
Well, do you remember the Golden Girls character that she created?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a hard thing for her to create.
That wasn't a stretch.
Okay.
No, that was close. That was I had worked with Bea on Golden Girls, and I have also did some other things that she was a guest star on, and she was kind of known for being a little difficult on set. Yeah, not with the other actors per se, but just in the way that she was, the opportunity she was being given to do her best, especially on a tight time frame. Sometimes, they would rather do another take or something, but we had very limited amount of time. So she did, I thought, a great job given the problem of getting through all that, especially the bar scene. The bar scene was a monster because of all those people in costumes.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real difficult scene to shoot. It's given the music and everything else, and I thought that she was very patient with it all.
Now, going back to Bea Arthur, was the Golden Girls after this?
Yes.
It was. Okay. Well, did you ever bring up the holiday special with Bea Arthur when you worked on Golden Girls?
Well, that goes back to, Bea wasn't the kind of person to just hang out at the coffee can, with the talk to the crew kind of person. So I don't know. I never interacted with her that way on there. I did a show in Paris with her. We were doing a Bob Hope special, and we were in the redone Paris Opera House. It had just been rebuilt, and there's a story that doesn't belong in this segment, but it has to do with her getting locked into a dressing room and the things that happened. But that's for another time. But yeah, it was Bea.
It would be really hard not to say, "Hey, Bea, after the shoot today, we're going down to the cantina. You want to join us?"
Yeah.
That would have been funny. That would have been really funny.
The bartender on staff tonight, her name is Akmina. Do you know her? Well, how about the other guest stars? Like, how was it to work with Art Carney, the legendary Art Carney?
For me, it was a delight. I mean, I grew up with the Honeymooners as a kid, and if anybody remembers that far back, he was a genius with making comedy and making a character out of very little to work with. In that show, he was just the guy who lived upstairs.
What's the matter? What's the matter? Just that you looked a little strange, that's all. I didn't know it was you at first. What'd you expect to come out of the sewer? The man in a gray flannel suit? Boy, that outfit is certainly a doozy. Well, come on, let's eat our lunch. I ain't got no lunch. My lunch is back at Brooklyn. What'd you forget to bring it? No, I didn't forget to bring it. I dropped it on the job here. If I'm any judge of currents, it's back in Brooklyn right now. Don't worry about it, pal. You can eat my lunch. I'm not hungry anyway. Wait a minute. When you offer me your lunch, it's either one or two things. Alice made you tuna fish sandwiches, or else you want to borrow money from me. Ham, you want to borrow money.
But he created a really great character and all that. And most of that, working off of Jackie Gleason, he just learned how to do comedy. And he did so many little bits in Star Wars show that, maybe you're not looking for it, you don't notice it, but he's playing with everything. His hands are constantly in motion doing shtick with props and things. He never just, delivered a line. He always made something happen within the scene, and he always had always a little mischief in the back of his head, and he was great on the set. He was very approachable, and I told him how much I liked him in the Honeymooners and everything else, and it was just for me it was a really great moment, and I'm glad I got some pictures of him to take with me at the end of the show, and I'm really happy with that.
Wow. Boy, that must have been an awesome day working with someone like Art Carney. Like I said before, just legendary, and like you were saying, just a master at comedy. And was a lot of his stuff improv, or did he stick to the script? Do you recall?
Oh, he did it. No, the script never mentioned anything about what the character would be doing while delivering the lines. That's what the good actor does. That the actor brings the believability of the character saying those lines and doing it in a way that isn't, pretending, and he just owned that character, and he knew exactly who he was in there and what, he was kind of a co-conspirator of the getting, the Imperial forces out of that house and getting everybody safe. And he pulled it off great. I mean, I thought he was probably the highlight of the best actor in all of the show, I thought.
Excuse me. Got a wall screen customer. Good to see you again. Don't say a word, madam. I know just why you're calling. You're wondering when that shaggy carpet you ordered will arrive at your home. Let me assure you, madam, it's on its way. It was made especially for you by a little old woman 4 planets away. She did it all by herself. In fact, you might say she did it by hand. Solo.
Wow, you're making me want to watch this again just to see what he's doing.
Don't put Harrison Ford in that comment because Harrison is a different person altogether.
Yeah, Son Dan, who he played in the holiday special, could really be the great grandfather of Ed Norton from the Honeymooners.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
When Art Carney passed away, a lot of the fans mourned Sandan from the holiday special.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. Time marches on, and another generation of people come up, and you don't know the references back then. But I think throughout his career, he was always a genius. I did a lot of variety shows that he guested on. Not a lot, but maybe 4 or 5. And he was a song and dance man as well, and he could do it all. And just a really great guy.
Wow.
How about Harvey Korman? That must have been a trip watching him play his 3 characters.
Well, Harvey, at the Carroll Burnett show, he was the guy who, with Tim Conway, created the magic of comedy and gag, falling down and picking himself up again and creating all these unbelievably strange people. And he did 3 different parts in Star Wars. He was the female chef, the bartender, and the TV pitchman. And he made every one of them totally different. And he was just in the bar scene. He owned that. So he like Art do exactly what they did best. And to bring something like that to a show that no one really knew how it would play out without having a book for the show, it was just genius stuff. I think it was really, really good.
I got the feeling from watching the show that they didn't really know how to wrangle him in. That he just kept going and going and going because you don't stop Harvey Korman.
While we're stirring, we also whip. So it's stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, whip, stir. Now, let's try it again together at an increased tempo, because precision is very important in this recipe, and we do want to have a fine consistency, don't we? So, and on the count of 1. Stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, whip, stir. Come on, faster all together now. Cooking can be fun. Stir, whip, whip, stir. Stir, whip, whip, stir.
No, you don't. And you know what? We probably did several takes, but I think they were all good. If maybe something else in the scene didn't work and they had to do it again for that reason, but he was a genius with comedy. He and Art both were doing so well, and I have to give them their props for bringing that to the show. And there was never any ego problems either. They were there to do the show, and they did it, and they were great.
Yeah, I get the feeling he had a lot of fun on the set just because he had so much free reign, especially as the bar patron where he gets to pour the drink in his head. He must have had a...
Yes. That was hilarious. And, he pours a little bit in, chat. Then he finishes it and pours the rest of it in, like somebody else would have just poured it all in at once and made it into a thing. But he made it funnier. He knew how to do that.
Oh, I feel so sorry for the wardrobe people. That must have been just a mess afterwards.
Oh, they don't mind at all. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Being a big Cantina fan, how long did it take to shoot that Cantina scene? And because I know all the actors were passing out, weren't they, from the heat?
Yeah, that's right. They were sweating up all the fluids in their body. We had to give them a lot of fluids. They would drink through straws constantly when we weren't shooting, just to keep hydrated. We had drinks with straws that would go through the mouths of the characters if there were mouths, and some of them didn't have that. But they were troopers, all of them. They did slow down the production, but nobody that I could see didn't understand that, because they were being asked to do, without a film, you would never see that happen. And they would take all the time in the world, and they would, shoot 1 or 2 pages of a scene, in 2 days. We did everything in probably that one long day in the Cantina. I really don't think we did a 2-day shoot. We did it all in 1 day.
Wow.
Because they had to get all those actors together in one place, and they had to get it all done and take that scene out and bring in another set. So they did a great job. Hats off to all of them. And a lot of them didn't get any recognition, and I don't think they did a really long credit list for the people who were in costume, but they should have.
The actor who played Walrus Man, I'm forgetting his name in the holiday special, I tried to track down for this very show as well, but I couldn't find him. His name is out there. I just can't find any contact info on him.
If you try Facebook, maybe.
Facebook?
Yeah, I've tried Facebook. I've tried IMDb. I just tried just mailing a letter at random, hoping it would get to his place somehow.
Wow. Well, and maybe he moved back to another country or something.
Oh, he's still working in the business. He just did a Netflix or a Hulu show last year. And
really?
Yeah. So I know he's still out there, and I've got to find him.
He won't take your calls.
I know.
What's up with that?
Come on.
Really? He's just still mad that his arm got cut off in Star Wars, but you know what? It got reattached in the holiday special, so come on. Life's not so hard, is it? You know, okay, let's bring up one more name, and we kind of touched on her a few minutes ago, but Diahann Carroll. Now, there's no way she could have any idea what was going on.
No, well, but for her, it was actually, I mean, obviously the producers would talk to her, and I'm pretty sure Steve directed that too. She was there to do a song. She was gorgeous. The gown she was wearing was fantastic. The lighting director, John Rook, on the show made her look absolutely stunning. And so all she really had to do was sing the song, So she was doing what came natural to her. She was great. I've always been a big fan of her. I've shot her in several TV specials through the years, and she was always very cooperative and enthusiastic and would do whatever was required, And she was lip syncing. I'm sure everybody can understand that because there was no way that they could get a microphone on her dressed like that and, big wide shots and everything else. So she had to either lip sync it or, she sang to it, afterwards for editing purposes. But she did a great job with it too. I was following her, like I say, on the close-ups in there, and I couldn't tell that she was lip syncing.
You know what? When I meet Diahann Carroll at some point, I've got to let her know that there are people who go to the Star Wars Celebration conventions dressed as her character and other Star Wars holiday special characters. Isn't that amazing?
Is that true?
That's very true. I saw one woman dressed in an outfit I couldn't really make out. And I said, I can't put my finger on who you are. And she said, Mermaid from the holiday special. It's like, oh, that's right. So yeah, there is a huge cult following for the Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah, whenever you want to do like a Star Wars costume cosplay that's not very familiar, it's great to draw from.
Wow. Now you gotta have good skin though for that kind of dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a very tight body.
Yeah, that would be better. But, I've seen a lot of people who don't take that into, well, that's another story too.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about all these guest stars, and now I really want to delve into something that's close to my heart, and that's Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. Now, there's a behind-the-scenes picture of Carrie Fisher looking very dreamily into Harrison Ford's eyes. So you, being there on set, did you witness anything between them yourself?
No, I didn't see that. That I'm sure was staged. I hate to, maybe bring reality into what could it be interpreted there. But the photographer probably said, now, Carrie, you look into Harrison's eyes and pretend you're not mad at him and, get all dreamy. And she did,
I don't know.
Way to burst my bubble.
Those stories, those behind-the-scenes stories on Star Wars, when the two of them hooked up in England, I think she had
it's possible.
Yeah, she had a huge crush on Harrison.
Well, she had a lot of crushes back in the day.
Who wouldn't have a huge crush on Harrison? I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't, I'll tell you. He was Mr. Grumpy. But, no, I didn't see any behind-the-scenes stuff. And, being on stage, what they would go back to their trailers to do wasn't even, on my radar. We were always just moving on to the next scene. So I got no dirt to dish there.
Darn it.
Darn it. I do have some nice pictures of her, but she was with R2-D2, 3CPO at the time.
C-3PO, so. Yeah. What about Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca? He must have been really fun to work with because there's a whole Star Wars film, a holiday special being built around his character.
Right, yeah. No, he did another trooper, wearing all that hair. Was just crazy. It's just, I can't say enough about how hard that had to have been for the actors to do all that. And And this was a big time show. This was a big budget show, so they bring in really good people. I mean, they were very careful, I'm sure, with their casting, and they brought these people in from that film that those people already knew how to do those characters. So I'll credit to him for hanging in with the TV people who didn't actually do it the way they do it in film. And so, like I say, he was just one of a group of actors who just made it possible.
Yeah.
I got no dirt on him. He didn't do anything awkward outside of it being, who he was in character. So, but they were all just really nice people, and they understood the issues, and they tried as hard as they could to work and keep it going before they had to call for a break,
Let's take a break from our conversation with Star Wars Holiday Special camera operator Larry Heider to hear some commercials and a CBS News break you would have heard during the Holiday Special back in 1978.
Star Wars. You and your children loved it. Now, the Earthlings at Kenner have asked my associate and me to present the Star Wars collection. Truly remarkable toys and games for your children. What are you so excited about now? My goodness, the Star Wars TIE Fighter and X-Wing Fighter. Now your children can relive our great space battles or collect our wonderful Star Wars companions with Kenner's Star Wars action figures. R2, it's a little you. Kenner's new radio-controlled R2-D2 anyone can command. The Star Wars land speeder that moves like it's floating. And here's Kenner's Death Star space station, 4 floors of action. A trash compactor, too. Listen, R2, that's the Star Wars electronic laser battle, a game of speed, reflex, and reaction. These and other toys and games in Kenner's Star Wars collection are sold separately. Batteries are not included. May the Force be with you and your children.
Good evening. From CBS News, this is Newsbreak. Soviet President Brezhnev told 12 U.S. senators that the Soviet Union had once tested a neutron bomb but never put it into production. That's the bomb that kills people but leaves buildings standing. William Campilas, a 23-year-old former CIA employee, has been convicted of selling top-secret government documents to the Russians. Winter moved in on the Midwest today, 11 inches of snow in Minnesota. Also hard-hit parts of Michigan and Wisconsin. It was some 9 months ago when the blizzard of '78 hit New England, and the medical community predicted this would be a busy time for maternity wards, but it hasn't happened. One nurse said most of the men must have been out shoveling snow.
And now back to our discussion with Star Wars Holiday Special camera operator Larry Heider.
Do you recall what Mark Hamill's attitude was like on set? Because I know if anyone's going to be a trooper, it's going to be Mark Hamill. But still, he didn't understand or he didn't really know how this fit into the Star Wars mythology. So did that come across at all?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, he was kind of like, he didn't seem unsure on the first couple of takes, and some actors are always that way. You don't know how you're supposed to play the scene until you get there with the other actors. And obviously these, they never had a chance to rehearse this stuff off stage, like a week or two ahead of time. They didn't have, that kind of like what you would normally get to people. They don't ship a script to them because they were still working on the script as we were shooting. So, I definitely, but I have seeing him do it now. He was good. He brought the Luke Skywalker television, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. Were there any scenes that you recall shooting that never made it into the special?
Gosh, I'm sure there were, but because we just were always shooting, but I like I said, we were so out of order and the way we were shooting. It's common to do that, but it's just impossible to know. And sometimes a scene would be shot, with only one camera, like the crane camera would come in, and I wouldn't even be working at that point. So that's when I would kind of walk around the set and just hang back and sit down for a while. And one of the chairs, the director's chairs that they had for everybody, and also had brought a camera to the stage and took some pictures, and just to kind of like as a hobby thing.
Oh, yeah. So it must have been a lot of downtime when David Akumba was shooting, because he's more of a cinematic director, and they take a long time to set up every shot. So having the downtime and with a camera, what kind of stuff did you get?
Oh, you mean my camera?
Yeah.
I had a little a Nigromat film camera, and at the time I had a little dark room in a studio that I shared with an artist, and so I had a black and white film because that's what I was working with, and I got some nice background stuff of people in and out of costume, mostly half in and half out of costume because they wouldn't take off all their hair in the Wookiee world. So it was fun to do. I got a lot of crew people because I've always felt that the crew are sometimes more interesting than what's on front of the camera, just to watch and see how people can be so professional and focused, at one moment and then just walk away and talk about sports or something in the next minute, and so I had a lot of friends in television, and they haven't seen too much of this yet because I still haven't got around to organizing all that film, but I hope to do something with that in the near future because I'm starting to get to the point where I think I'm going to be retiring out of television in a year or two. So that'll give me some more time to do some things like that.
You must have some fascinating pictures because you've worked on so much.
I can't wait to see those pictures.
Well, yeah, but I do have thousands of pictures that I took, most of them on music shows, rock and roll shows. I did a lot of music shows. I did a lot of rock and roll. I used to work on Don Kirshner's rock concert, and before that, I worked on the Midnight Special when I worked at NBC in my early career. And so I was in the habit of having a camera with me, and so I have some really nice stuff that. When all the people who sang rock and roll were actually rock and roll age, 20-year, 60-year-old guys coming back to do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fun to do. But that's not about this show.
Yeah, we'll delve into that in a couple of minutes because I'm eager to hear about some of your other projects. But with the Star Wars Holiday Special, as a kid, as an 8-year-old, I was very confused as to why the show didn't have a consistent look, because now I know that they cut back and forth from Star Wars stock footage to the video look of the holiday special. Do you recall shooting that? Did you mainly work in film, and how was it working now in this new medium of video?
No, I've never really worked in film. I've done some things on film. I know how to operate a film camera, but I came up in the television world in the early 70s. So, and at the point where I was a sports cameraman in the early, I did like Super Bowl 3 and 5 or something like that.
Wow.
So I've always been in television. So film has always been the other world, the big time, and we were, the amateur sort of in how the things were done back then. But I totally understand why that looked different in terms of the show look, and that's because they used footage from the film, outtakes from the film, especially towards the end of the film, of the show rather. That I'm sure were given by George Lucas because they needed some way to get off of, the planet into space a little bit and see some of that. So the film looks totally different. And I know most of the people who have viewed these things also have not seen really pristine video from the show, like the first generation video that they would record. So a lot of that it has to do with just you're watching a DVD that was taken from a 3/4 inch machine that was put into a 1/2 inch VHS format. So everything's been mixed up television wise. And so everything is downgraded. And when you start to take apart things like that, all things started to look a little worse. But film and television at that point had two totally different looks. Now they're shooting movies with basically television cameras. They're called digital cameras, not television cameras, but basically they are TV cameras. And that technology has finally grown up, and it's fun to see. Wish I could have done more films. That would have been an interesting thing, but that's the reason for the two different looks. There's a film image that looks one way, and there was in the 70s a television image that didn't look half as good as film.
Right.
So that's that. But when you're doing sci-fi, that's kind of expected, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this wasn't a B movie sci-fi thing, but still, you have to have some. Whenever you're talking about future, you don't have to worry too much about explaining that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially in the Wookiee home, it was so brightly lit, and I'm sure those actors were just sweltering with every single take.
Yes, that's true, and the Wookiee cookies were being ignored, and they were just drinking a lot of water.
Wow.
Oh, I found out it was what? Am I right on this? They weren't Wookiee cookies; they were Wookiee Wookiees, right?
Which part?
You know what? That can be canon now.
Yeah, I actually made a note of that when I was watching the playback the other day. I made some notes as I was watching, and they were called Wookiee Wookiees by someone later in the show. So I thought that was kind of a clever little thing for them to do.
Wow.
Writers did a little joke there. Oh, sorry, I'm going to decline this call.
Okay, no worries. That was beautiful.
This is Harrison Ford calling. Stop talking. All right, I want to put it behind me.
We're going to be sued. We'll talk to your lawyers.
Wow.
Was there anything unique about the making of the Star Wars Holiday Special that you didn't really see anywhere else on any of the other millions of shows you had worked on at that point? The technology, the behind the scenes, the directing, the lighting style?
No, I think we all brought our game. I mean, that's what we were hired to do was to make this look as good as we could for a television show. So they were using all the technology that was available at the time. I mean, you were right about the lighting in the big Wookiee room was so bright because the characters were wearing costumes that were dark, so we had to brighten those up. And the cameras back then were not as sensitive to light as they are nowadays. Nowadays, the lighting is barely even bright. You know, they use all these LED lights. There's no heat anymore. It's very very easy to do to keep things comfortable. Back then, we had tons of lights hung on the ceiling and on the floor. And that's one thing is that John Rook, the lighting director, always lit with lights on the floor. We're on stands. We would always have a lighting man attached to it, and we'd have to move it and adjust it and put in the barn doors and cutters and all the things that lighting guys do. And they did all that. They made it look as best as they possibly could. But because that was such a big, wide shot and all that bright brown carpeting and the carpet, the Wookiee being darker hair and all that. It was just one of those technical things that you couldn't beat it. You know, we didn't have the time and the equipment to make it any better than what we saw, as a result.
But now you're mentioning that we do have the technology like LEDs. It's not hot. I think we need a new holiday special.
I'm there. You know what? We'll shoot it on our iPhones.
I'm there too. I have the Steadicam for iPhone here.
I'm sure you do.
So talk to me. Set some dates. Let's talk. I could do it again. Sure.
Awesome.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. I gotta make a note of this. On this day in November, Larry Heider verbally agreed to shoot the Star Wars Holiday Special Part 2. And you had shot this over at the Warner Brothers studio, right? Right in the valley in August. Oh my goodness. You couldn't even go outside.
That's another issue. I mean, you're absolutely right. I didn't even factor that in. It was hot outside. And the stages were, they were old stages. They'd been there a long time already, and they would heat up from the sun. So they'd have to run in the air conditioning, but we'd have to turn off the air conditioning for sound while we were shooting, which made the heat build up again when these people in their Wookiee costumes were and even all the people in the regular costumes. I mean, a lot of the clothing that was on the show was warm to wear, all the uniforms and things like that. The guys and the stormtroopers, even, and all that plastic, they had all heated up.
Yeah. We go over to Warner Brothers on occasion for screenings and such. Do you recall what stage that was? Because I might want to sneak into that stage next time we're there.
I'm really not sure, but I worked on that a lot too. And normally when we do big shows, it was like 14 and 15, which are kind of like in the front part of that lot and near where the drive-in is for Gate 2. I think that was probably the stages. We did a dramatic show there on those stages. Failsafe, which was a George Clooney project, was a TV adaptation of a movie about an atomic bomber goes rogue and is going to bomb Moscow. Very dramatic thing, and it required 2 huge sets, and George Clooney was the producer as well as one of the actors in it, and so he made that deal and set it up there, and that was fun. That was a whole different story too, but so I think those are the stages.
Well, you know what? It's awesome. I mean, you've worked on the holiday special. You've worked on so many different things. And do you remember working on the Disneyland and Magic Kingdom anniversary shows?
Magic Kingdom anniversary shows. I probably did. I've done a lot of shows at Disneyland and Disney World, and also in Euro Disney. When that first opened, I did the opening the show for that. That was a big deal.
Wow.
It's nice to work on Disney shows because they're all outside usually. So it's always nice to have an exterior shoot instead of being stuck on a stage all day long. I did the Epcot opening in Florida, and that was kind of groundbreaking technology at the time, because they were doing a lot of interesting, kind of like a World's Fair of new technology being brought to Disney stuff, and that was all fun. But Disney is definitely know what you get when you're going to work at Disneyland. You're going to get a lot of people in costumes, and they'll be selling a lot of cookies and sodas. I was a Musketeer fan when I was growing up in the 50s, and I had my Musketeer card, and I would watch Annette Funicello with pleasure.
Yes.
Like most little boys of your age back then. Did you ever go to Disneyland now and show them your old Musketeer card, and maybe that'll get you in?
I wish I had one. Yeah, no, I'm afraid not. I do have, every show I do, we get a laminate that has the show on it and with your name or a number or something on it. And I've saved every one of my that they've given me. So I've got boxes full of these laminates that are all just thrown together, in no particular order, and it's kind of like my life in a box.
Wow, that's like an Instagram account waiting to happen.
Right, I'm going to have to hire some college kid or something to go through it all and put it in numerical order or chronological order or something, or alphabetical order or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have time to scan all that stuff. I'll leave that for my kids to do later.
Do you have anything from the Star Wars Holiday Special? Any kind of crew shirts, or do you still have your media badge, or did you maybe walk away with something, a bar glass?
That's a great question. I don't remember them giving us anything. I think by the time we were finished, they didn't have any money to buy us anything. I don't remember there being a wrap party at all. I think everybody just kind of like, they flipped the switch to off and we all went home, kind of. No, there might be a laminate or some sort of thing that we were wearing. Sometimes, the things you stick on your pants or something, but the security issues back then were there like now. But I'll have to look through all my laminates now and find that answer to that question, Richard. This is on you. So it's like, if nobody finds me, I'll be in my room going through my laminates.
Where's Larry? Last time we saw him, he went in his room. Wait, that was March.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what happened to him. He was always fun to hang around with. Now he doesn't come out. He just stays in his room.
And now he's in his room and he's like Darth Maul. You have all these laminates attached to him and he's talking to himself and he's wearing large shoes.
Yeah, no, that's the character I like in the Star Wars. I mean, I really like that character. He was dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, and I want to talk a little bit. And part of my notes is just a talking point. The technology that was presented then, it just relates to Apple all the way. I mean, the devices. They were using these little projection devices, and they were communicating with these, things that looked like early IMAX, and they
in the holiday special.
Yeah, it's crazy if you look at it and think of it in those terms. When you look at it, everything that they were using that was so like crazy idea that you could do this we do it every day now. And it's interesting to me that, nobody's made a big deal about that as far as I know, but all these projection things, they're all part of part and parcel of what we live with every day now. We take it for granted.
Yeah, and the Empire communicated with the Wookiees through a Skype call.
Exactly. And, we're doing programs now. We're doing virtual reality stuff the way they were doing. And it's pretty crazy.
I know. Like, even in Star Trek Next Generation, they have iPads, basically.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
It's crazy.
See, if people took the holiday special as seriously back then as we should now, we'd be way ahead in technology. But yet they didn't listen to the Wookiees.
No, that's right.
Always let the Wookiees win. Now, you know what? There's another show that you had shot for a couple of seasons, which Sarah and I are ardent fans.
Yep.
And that is Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, I did, I think, maybe 4 years of that show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, as a camera operator, it was a difficult position to fill. And again, it was the camera that does a lot of the close-up stuff. I was offered that job when it first started up in season 1, but I was busy with other things and I didn't do it. And I thought that season 2 came around, and now by then they had a crew, so I would be invited to come and do season 3, but then that didn't work out. So I finally got into like season 9 or 10.
2007, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Right in that time frame.
I did my research.
Yeah, you sure did. The thing with that show is you had to commit to do all of them. And they wouldn't let you book out. And that was a problem for me because I had a lot of other gigs going on at the time, and it just didn't seem to be working too good for that. But around that time frame, my kids were being 10, 11 years old. I wanted to spend some time at home more. And so that seemed to ground me a little bit. So I did it was like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday shoot, intense rehearsal. All the shots are numbered. Every beat of every bar is assigned to a camera.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's live, and we'd have to rehearse to death. I mean, those songs are all, they shoot it, they rehearse it once. We all watch it playback. We make adjustments in our notes. I mean, it's real heavy note taking, knowing music, knowing, when you can reframe a shot and how much time you have to do it in between shots. Sometimes pretty intense. So it was a real challenge to work on it. I did it, I think, 4 years. That's 8 seasons of shows. And then I started to get, conflicts, and I wanted to book out, and they dropped a day of work. And I really didn't, it just wasn't working out for me anymore. They were going towards more the reality show, trying to make things more dramatic with people's lives rather than celebrating dancing and music, which I celebrate. I've been in variety television my whole career. So it got to be less interesting after a while. And so I just, at one point, I just said, I think I'm done, guys. And they said, fine, we'll get somebody else. And they did. And everything's fine. But that's a really hard show to work on and to do well on. So they've got really good people there.
Were you like one of the guys running around the dance floor trying to get those close-ups?
Not at all. No,
okay.
I was the camera that was up by the celebrity. We used to call it the fishbowl.
Yes.
And up in there, and the camera was right there, and I was just all on a very tight, long lens kind of thing.
Okay. Wow. Because on Dancing with the Stars, even more than the stars that are fascinating, is the behind the scenes, like the camera work that goes on and the set changes and everything.
I think next to Game of Thrones, Dancing with the Stars has got the greatest production value of any show on, and I really mean that.
Yeah.
I love your sense of humor, Richie. That's
no, we mean it though. It's an amazing show.
It will take us a week pretty much to watch an episode just because we're always stopping going, wow, did you see this lighting design?
Yeah.
This is amazing. And the way
you're right.
And the way the crew, the set crew takes apart a set and builds like a house in the middle of the dance floor in a commercial break.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Have you ever been there to see it happen?
Yeah,
we actually have
a couple of times.
Yeah, what you saw, those guys, those grips and riggers, those people are really amazing. They're like Carney people, who just their whole lives they just come in there and they take all these challenges and physical, really hard work and timing wise, and they do it. They definitely bring their magic, to the show, and it really is. They don't get enough credit for doing what they do. Those guys are truly amazing.
Oh, believe me, it doesn't go unnoticed. When Sarah and I went to go see that couple of tapings a couple of years ago, they would move a couple of boxes around. But now they're like building atriums and malls just for a dance number.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and they only have the commercial time to do it, and if it doesn't happen, and it's a disaster for the production. And as far as I know, it's never happened.
Yeah.
They're in season 20 now, I think.
25.
25, yeah. So, I mean, all credit to those people who can do that. It's really, it's a very, it's a niche kind of thing, but they do it really well. And Tom, the host of the show, has always been a pleasure and really good guy.
Yeah.
Was there any dancer that was not so fun to work with?
I'd rather not talk about Max.
Nice.
It wouldn't be fair to say Max.
No, and I don't know what kind of Chermosky you're talking about over there. Chermoskovsky, yeah. I don't know what kind of language you're speaking over there, but we don't know who and what you're talking about. Yeah, we won't even bring up his brother Val either.
Yeah, Val was actually a milder person, a milder version of Max, yeah.
Nice.
Boy, you have worked on so much. And like you were saying earlier, that Don Kirshner's rock concert, and you did Solid Gold, and then later on, you did American Idol. What was it like seeing this type of rock show evolve into a competition?
To me, it was a disappointment. Personally, I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, the shows, the way they produce them, again, a really tightly made machine. But to me, I'd much rather see the person who made a song famous perform it, which you hardly ever see on television except on award shows, than seeing people who, are trying to be singers do it. It just doesn't work in my head. I didn't do a lot of American Idol. I kind of came and went. Sometimes I'd fill in. I did one complete season. I think it was the last season. So no offense to the show. I mean, the people on it are all great people, and that is what that show is. But for me, I mean, I have been a musical variety camera operator for so long that to me, there's nothing like the real thing, baby. And so to me, I just, it's always kind of like, oh, really? I mean, I do the voice as well now, and as a fill-in kind of job, and it's just not the same. Everybody's just trying to be somebody else instead of being themselves.
Yeah, it seemed like on Solid Gold and Don Kirshner's rock concert, they had more fun. But now it's all about how can we really slay these kids into getting some good television.
Yeah, and it is kind of presumptuous, and they add a lot of drama to it, and I guess that makes for rating points, which makes for money, so I understand it. But to me, there's nothing like seeing, like Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, Mick Jagger, whoever, Elton John, come out and do what they do. There's just no comparison,
Right.
I've been blessed in that I've done a lot of shows like that. I've worked on the Grammys every year and all the other, not most of the award shows now. I don't do a lot of all of them anymore, but over the years, I've just had an opportunity to witness a lot of really great performances, and I just love music. So I've always enjoyed being around that. That's my favorite environment to work in.
Nice.
Yeah, one of my greatest memories growing up is me and my sister watching Solid Gold every Sunday morning.
That was an interesting show. That was definitely rock and roll. The Solid Gold dancers were unforgettable in my.
Yeah, they were unforgettable to me too. And
yeah, actually, a friend of mine, one of the camera operators that worked on the show, married one of those dancers, and also the director, Lou Horowitz, married one of the dancers from that show.
I'm sure they did. As a little kid, I wanted to get married to one of those dancers, but you know what? Now I got my sweetie wife right over here.
There you go. And you're better off for it too. By the way, dances are notoriously unfaithful. They dance. They just dance. They just keep dancing away from you.
Anything to report from Dancing with the Stars about that?
Not that I know of. No, I don't work on that set anymore. I'm out of the loop on that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you know what? We did put it out there to our Skywalkers, our listeners, that we were going to be interviewing you. And we had a couple of them respond with some questions or comments. And Donald Wicks would like you to know, no questions, but just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for helping to make something so incredibly weird and strangely awesome that I enjoy making a part of my holiday tradition.
That is really that's sweet to hear. Donald is definitely welcome to join my FaceTime account anytime he wants. I will definitely take him as a friend. It's nice to have someone just not get caught up in the drama, but just appreciate something for what it is, and that's a really nice statement. Thank you, Donald.
All right, Martin Keeler says something along those same lines. He says, if you could go back in time and do it again, what would you change? Then he writes, trick question, as the answer is nothing, because it's as perfect as it is.
Well, if I had the control that I could change anything, not just what I did, but I would change maybe the time of year to shoot it. And maybe getting no, that's all I would say. Yeah, it's perfect the way it was.
Maybe calling up George Lucas and saying, hey, George, you might want to come down here. They're doing things that I don't think you're aware of.
Well, George didn't come, he didn't want to come there. That was up to him. I mean, George is George.
Yeah, well, he was prepping The Empire Strikes Back and about to go into production with more American Graffiti, so that wasn't his thing. He knew it was all about selling toys, so you guys do what you're best at, I'll do what I'm best at, and hopefully I'll be very happy with what you have and not want to smash every single copy with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. I think that worked well in the press, though. I mean, that line probably was said in jest, and they picked up on it, and now it's part of a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, fake news? What are you talking about?
I think, I just think so. I mean, George, he didn't lose any money on the show, I'm sure.
If anything, he gained money because it was one big ad for the Star Wars toys that were about to be launched for the 1978 Christmas season.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, George Lucas is an amazing talent, and more power. Let's do more, George. Do some TV now. Come back to television.
Oh, your mouth to his ears.
Yep.
Maybe sometime soon. All right, we have one more question from our Skywalkers, and this is from Jim Pruitt, my childhood best friend, and someone who I actually watched the Star Wars Holiday Special with on November 17th, 1978.
Wow.
And he writes, did anyone with the production ever hear or got word about somebody famous who watched the Star Wars Holiday Special that they would have never guessed watched it? Like, I always wondered if John Lennon watched it or Jimmy Carter.
I don't know the answer to that. How about I watched it?
All right, Jim, there's your answer right there. Larry watched it.
And I don't actually, it's strange in television. I work on a lot of shows that I never see put together and aired, because either because I'm working somewhere else when they air, or I don't even know when they air. It's like disposable, projects. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to find old shows and digitize them now, just to have something for my kids to let them know that Daddy wasn't home because there was something going on. But it's hard to find a lot of TV shows. You can't find them.
All right.
Yeah.
If you dig deep on YouTube, you can find pretty much everything.
I guess so. I will try digging there. I haven't used it too much.
With all the Star Wars stuff that's out these days, did they ever say, hey, Dad, you worked on a Star Wars film once, didn't you?
No. Neither one of my kids really want. I tried to show it to them, but the Wookiee thing, kids nowadays, they grow up in MTV, a lot of cuts. Let's move on. Come on, keep it going. And they didn't. They were maybe too young for it. That's probably what it was. they didn't appreciate the art and pain that it took to make that happen so well.
Earlier in the show, we had played an audio clip from a listener who had just shown his very young children, 5 and 9 years old, I believe, the Star Wars Holiday Special. And you know what? They liked it. They really, really liked it.
Good. I'm going to try again. My kids are coming in for Thanksgiving on Thursday. So maybe after all the turkey, people feel kind of tired and just want to sit and watch television for a while. And I'll just slip that on DVD player and see what happens.
Oh, you know what? If you can do that, put your iPhone somewhere very inconspicuously and record their reactions.
Yes.
That will be priceless.
They'll be looking down at their phones, I'm sure. Yeah.
Tweeting, you'll never guess what Dad is making me watch right now. They'll be hashtagging, I love the holiday special. That's what they'll be doing. I can guarantee you that.
Sure. That's right. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Before we wrap up, we'd love to know what you're working on these days.
Well, I've been working on the Sarah Silverman show, America, I Love You. Oh, no, I Love America. I Love You, America, which is a Hulu show, which is it's just a one-off, one-day-a-week thing that I haven't done all of them, but it's an interesting little project you might want to look at because she's putting her name out there to do a little half-hour show that's kind of quirky and filled with her humor. But I'm this time of year, the production is mostly based around television shows. I just did a Gwen Stefani music video show that's going to be on December 12th on NBC. It's all her Christmas songs from her new CD. And she we did them in a theater here in LA, and she's in Christmas costumes. She's fantastic. If you get a chance to catch that's a really good show. I'm sure they're going to put together a real nice show with that. And I'm flying up to San Francisco. I do this show called the Breakthrough Prize every year up in Silicon Valley. It's where international scientists, teachers, educators are given awards for outstanding efforts in their field and given $1 million prizes. It's all put together by Don Mischer Productions and actually this fellow Yuri, who's been in the news about being linked to Putin. But it's an interesting little award show, not like the usual, come up and thank your agent and manager type of thing. That's awesome. I'm doing some other shows. I'm doing a Woman in Television show at the end of this month. 2 days of a show about women in the music.
Wow.
That might be interesting. And Christmas Eve, I'm doing, as usual, the Christmas songs at the LA Civic Opera with, all these kids from different schools come in and sing Christmas carols.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cute little thing. And that's Christmas Eve, and then that's a wrap for me for the year.
Boy, you really stay busy.
Mm-hmm. There's so much television nowadays that it's hard not to. I mean, it's really, it's like I'm 71 in December, and there's just no reason to really stop right now because the phone keeps ringing, or my phone keeps vibrating.
Do you like it when the technology improves and that's just another medium or another way to learn your craft?
I do. Of course I do. I've been an Apple guy since, the 2C came out in the 80s. I've been always attached to technology. I still keep my pager in my drawer just in case things don't work out.
In case Skynet gets a hold of everything, the pagers will still work.
Exactly. But when you don't, know what else to do, just pull out your pager and wait, But that used to be that back in the days of Star Wars Holiday Special, that was the only way we would communicate back then. We didn't have, leave a message at my pager and then I'll call you back when I get a phone line.
Wow. Well, okay. So do you have the iPhone 10?
I do. No, I just got the 8 Plus.
Okay.
But I have a plan where next year I can upgrade. I don't believe in getting the first version of really new stuff with Apple. Not that it's not good, but there are always some little things that need to be worked out. So I figured I'll just get a better camera for my phone and deal with that.
Nice.
next time around. Yeah.
Do you ever get one of the earphones and go, wow, if I could only go back in time 40 years and go, hey, everyone, look. Look, you know those big Toyotas you're schlepping around called film and video cameras? Now we can answer our phones on our cameras. What can you do?
Wait, you can? What?
Yeah.
Only it wouldn't quite work because the internet wouldn't be as fast and snappy as it is today.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's never a problem.
Well, Larry, thank you once again so much for celebrating this day of peace and harmony here on Skywalking Through Neverland.
Shoutouts, Skywalker shoutouts. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
All right, shout-outs this week. We're going to start with Twitter, where Matthew O'Hearn tweeted something fun. So he is at BroncoFlyer8912, so go follow him. And he tweeted, I listen to a lot of Skywalking Pod while in a plane. Hashtag pilot life, hashtag aviation, hashtag Disney in the sky. That is awesome. But you know what Matthew O'Hearn didn't do? He didn't tweet a picture of him in a plane, because I want to see some pictures from the cockpit.
Judging by that hashtag pilot life, I'm going to put this out there and guess that he's a pilot.
Yes,
So,
I think so.
You know what? Can you get a selfie of yourself as you're flying the plane?
I think that would be amazing.
That would be so much fun.
We would love that, and tweet your hashtag Skywalker selfie. Oh, so cool, because we love to know what you're doing when you listen to Skywalking Through Neverland. All right, we are also going to go head to Twitter for Anthony Fox. He is at Dubax4Life, and he is able to go to Disneyland far more often than us, and he always tweets pictures of the latest fashion and new items in Star Tours, or in the Star Trader. So like the Her Universe stuff and the new Star Wars t-shirts and stuff, and we love it. So I just want to thank Anthony for doing that, because when you do that and you tag us, we retweet it to all our followers, and then everyone gets to see what awesome things are, what new things are going on at Disneyland.
I'm so amazed at how much new product comes out every 2 weeks.
Oh, I know. And we were just there, of course. And so Anthony Fox tweeted, so many new Her Universe Star Wars items at Star Trader in Disneyland. Ashley has been busy. Porgs, BB-8, so awesome. And we were actually lucky enough to see these in person, but oh my gosh, there's, I just got my AT-AT poodle skirt. Well, now there's a BB-8 poodle skirt. Oh, it looks amazing. And there's also a Porg sweater and a Porg Peter Pan collar top, which looks really cute, and BB-8 hoodies. So yeah, there's lots of cool items, which you can also find on the Disney shopping app. There's an app that you can go to now. Disney Parks Shop, something like that. So yeah, you can buy them even if you don't get to Disneyland or Magic Kingdom.
That was a lot of information for the gift-giving season.
It was, yes.
All right, with that, let's now move on to another long overdue Skywalker of the Week.
Mark Newbold.
Congratulations, Mark Newbold!
Aww, you are Skywalker of the Week with your very own jingle as composed by Rob Dehlinger.
The John Williams of podcasting.
So Skywalkers, if you want to be the Skywalker of the Week, and this month we've had, three Skywalkers of the Week? So Rob Dehlinger, he's busy, but he'll do them once every other week or so. And what happens is you guys share our show in a fun way on social media. Tell your friends about Skywalking Through Neverland. And when you do that and you share it and we see that, then you get to be on the list to be the Skywalker of the Week.
And last week, or was it 2 weeks ago now, Mark Newbold gave us a huge push on his new Star Wars informational website, Fantha Tracks.
Yes.
That he and Martin Keeler and a whole bunch of contributors are posting the latest and greatest Star Wars news.
Yeah.
And we were the editor's pick of the week.
Aw, that was very sweet.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And you know what? I have one more shout out before we leave our shout out section.
Yeah, we're not done yet. We have something else.
We do. We got a card from the Chickafence. Aww.
It's a Thanksgiving card with Darth Vader cutting the turkey with his lightsaber.
Isn't that amazing? And then, in the card, they had a gift, which is in the kitchen.
Yes. In fact, we were using it.
We were.
Yeah. Sarah's mom opened it up, even though I was going to keep it closed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, you know what? Now we have to use it. And it was a Ray spoon.
Yeah, that they got in Cheerios,
in Cheerios,
right?
Yeah, because Cheerios has these, like, the pens and spoons and stuff. Well, the Chickafence sent us their Ray spoon.
And we love it because we don't eat cereal anymore, so we didn't get any spoons. So yay!
But you know what? If you go to the supermarket these days, everything has got The Last Jedi on it, including a lot of cereal. So, gotta go to Vaughn's after we're done here and load up the cart because I'm a sucker for those exclusive boxes.
Nice.
Yeah, cereal boxes, fruit roll-up boxes, waffle boxes, and bottles, and cans, and sports drinks, and bananas, and oranges.
Before we go, you guys, we want to share with you where we will be. All right, so on Sunday, November 26th, it is LosCon number 44 in Los Angeles, California, and we will be hosting 2 panels that day.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend.
Yes.
So it is at the Marriott Los Angeles Airport, and our 2 panels are at 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The 10 a.m. panel is the celebrating your 40 years of Star Wars fandom. And then at 2:30, we're going to be doing the Force Fun Challenge games.
Yes, which is going to be super fun because we did kind of a run-through with some friends last night. We had a get-together.
And it was so much fun.
And
oh, my goodness.
We workshopped some things, and we have all the stuff prepared, so that's going to be super fun. So if you can make it, Skywalkers, head to LosCon November 26th, and once again, 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. We'll have our panels.
For more information, you can go to LosCon, LOSCON.org. Lots of panels coming up, all dedicated to the Star Wars classic years.
Yes.
Oh.
All right, also where we will be, well, we will be with liningup.net for The Last Jedi. And liningup.net, I believe there's tickets left. I'm not sure.
No, there's not. No, I just tried for a friend.
Oh, no.
They're gone. They're gone. Yes.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, if you are joining us, congratulations. If you're not, then you can still stop by the TCL Chinese Theater IMAX.
Get it right, would you?
I know. We'll probably be there all day on that Thursday, December 14th?
14th, yes.
Right? Yeah,
yes.
14th. And so we'll definitely be there that day and some days beforehand as well.
And if they come down, what will they get from us? The new Skywalking Through Neverland Porg BB-8 Mickey buttons.
Whee,
all
so
your
cute.
Skywalkers, all you gotta do is come on down and say hello. Or don't say hello, but say, hey.
Yes. All right, so that'll be fun. Now, also in December, because December we're celebrating The Last Jedi, on December 30th, we won't be in LA, we will actually be in Boston.
Yep, the home turf.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna go
For
see.
you.
Yep, yeah, that's right. Very true. We're gonna go see The Last Jedi at the Jordan's Furniture Theater in Natick, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. It's the IMAX Theater. And we are going to see The Last Jedi in 3D, and tickets are available now. So you can head to that website to purchase them and make sure you get the 7 p.m. showing of The Last Jedi in 3D to join us.
Yes, so once again, that's the Jordan's Furniture in Natick, Massachusetts. We hope all you Skywalkers on the East Coast can join us.
Yay! And we will be bringing these buttons.
Yeah. And once again, a big thank you to Amanda Bakken, who has been staying on top of this get-together, letting us know where the film's going to be shown, what theater, when the tickets are actually being sold, so we don't miss out. So big thanks to Amanda.
That wraps up episode 192 of
Skywalking Through Neverland. And this was our big thank you to the Star Wars Holiday Special for 39 years of enjoyment.
And thanks to you, Skywalkers, for listening. That's what we give thanks for.
Exactly, yeah. We also want to give a huge thanks to Larry Heider, the camera operator on the Star Wars Holiday Special, and a big, giant Wookiee hug to Eric Warren and his kids, Adrian and Sophia, for sending in their Holiday Special review.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
And always, always thankful for all you Skywalkers who tune in live every week, who listen every week, and just share our adventure through fandom. We love it.
Yeah.
All right, and also, this week, Skywalkers, all these Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales are going on. Well, TeePublic is having their awesome sales on everything, not just t-shirts. Richard's so excited that his hat fell off. Not just t-shirts, but also on the, what do they have? They have totes. They have
tapestries. They have cell phone cases.
They have stickers. They have pillows and mugs and travel mugs and all kinds of things. And you can get all our designs on all these items, and especially our new design, the Porg BB-8 Mickey ear
padded
button
Porg.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's not a button. It's a t-shirt or whatever you want. And actually, Chickafin ordered theirs. I think they're the first ones to get
before us?
A t-shirt, yes.
Way to go, Chickafins.
Ordered ours yet, yes. So TeePublic is having sales now through Cyber Monday. So this is the week to buy. We also have our holiday BB-8 on there. All kinds of fun things you can get for the holidays. And also, we want to remind you about our YouTube channel. So every week, I don't know if you noticed this week, Skywalkers, but we went to Knott's Merry Farm on a press event, and we're able to get tons of video of all the awesome holiday things going on at Knott's Merry Farm. And we posted them all on our YouTube channel in a special playlist labeled Knott's Merry Farm 2017. One of my favorite shows was actually A Peanuts Guide to Christmas, which was only a 12-minute show. And it featured all the Peanuts gang, as well as Snoopy dressed as Santa Snoopy. And what they did is they sang holiday songs, but they sang their versions of them. So in it, they sing the 12 Days of Christmas, but Peanuts version. So go to our YouTube channel to check that video out because, well, what do you think that Charlie Brown got, Richard? What is he always getting?
He got a rock.
That's right. Wow. All right. So yeah, if you don't want to miss any of those videos, head to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/skywalkingthroughneverland, and subscribe.
All right, but first, let's tell everyone to go over there to retrozap.com, where they can see some awesome shows like Brews and Blasters,
Warp Trails,
Beltway Banthas,
Deucecast Movie Show,
Starship Sabers and Scoundrels,
and Talking Apes TV.
Where there should be there will be a new episode coming out in the next few days where we talk with author E.C. Gaska.
Oh.
And we're going to get this guy on Classic Marvel Star Wars Comics because he's got some stories about the artists who he's worked with, and he said, you're going to want to hear these stories.
Okay, cool. Wow. Well, you can also find Skywalking Through Neverland at jedinews.co.uk and fanthatracks.com, and also thebeardedtrio.com. Forgot to mention them. They, they're listeners of the show, Rob Wainfer, and he offered to put our website on his website, so links to that. Yeah, so thank you, and you guys go check out thebeardedtrio.com.
Well, thank you, Rob, and thank you to the Bearded Trio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to send us an email, if something you want to say, you want to keep kind of private, or maybe longer than you can fit in a Facebook post, well, you can email us at share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
And you can head to @SkywalkingPod on Twitter and Instagram, too, because we share lots of things there.
Right. And let's just wrap this up by saying go over to iTunes and leave us a review. I'm not going to tell you to leave a 5-star. You be completely honest. Tell us what you think.
Okay, so Skywalkers, every week we have some outtakes and some funny conversations that didn't quite make it into the main show, and this happens right after the credits, so stay tuned.
And then, always remember to be very thankful on this Thanksgiving holiday. And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dehlinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.
And now back to our discussion with Star Wars camera bleh.
Oh, that wasn't good at all.
I know. And we love it when you share our joy in our bleh.
Well, it was a pleasure to talk to both of you, and good luck with keep on going with the Never World of Neverland. This is Larry Heider, and I shoot the star. Oh, sorry. Let me try it again.
Well, that was perfect.
We're totally using that for outtakes. Well, gobble, they're going to sing it.
The gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. That's a porg.
It was.
What does a porg say? Gobble, gobble.
I think we're ending with
I'm
that.
sorry. I needed more content for the blooper reel.
Okay. All right, Skywalkers. Well, we're going to get back to cookie baking.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Woo!